and Congresswoman Yvette Clark. Sorry.
First off, I want to just say to Councilmember Williams and to Director Kirsten that they make me proud to be in city government, the way they have approached this, the way they have thought about city policy, even though they were victims of something very serious. We have a larger issue here today because what happened to the council member and to the director is something that happens every hour, every half hour in this city, in the neighborhoods that we know. The truth is that over the first 8 months of this year, 364,000 people were stopped by the NYPD. 84% were people who are African American or Latino. We cannot continue to target people based on their skin color. I never worry about this during the course of my day. But when I meet with an African American professional woman who understands criminal justice issues, and when she tells me last week that she was afraid when her child was coming home from college because she did not want her African American son to be victimized, put up against the wall, told to assume the position, not by somebody who's a mugger, not by someone who's a drug dealer, but somebody who's a member of the NYPD. Because that's the policy in this city, and that's what has to change, and it has to change now. We all know what's going on. We hear about this every day, and yet it's time now to look at this procedure that went awry and come back and fix it once and for all. I am very proud to be here in the presence of the council member and Kirsten, because what they have articulated today is the story that is happening to so many African American men and Latino men, people of color in this city. And if we close our eyes to what happened today, then we will not have a city that is representative of the diversity that we all love to speak about, especially this week as we honor our 9/11 families and victims. Please, let's make fundamental change in this city. Thank you.
To all of my colleagues in government and all of the community leaders, I am Congresswoman Yvette Clark of the 11th Congressional District, where the wonderful West Indian Day Carnival takes place. I am here to say how much I regret the policies and the posture of the NYPD, generally speaking, when it comes to people of color in this town. Because beyond what has happened to our councilman and to Director Foy, each and every day we're hearing more and more about the violation of civil liberties in this town. And we have spoken to the commissioner, we have spoken to the mayor. When I say we, a number of us elected officials in the city of New York have met with both of these gentlemen to say that this situation is getting out of hand. All of us are concerned. We have family members as well who are victims of this. Our constituents are victims of this. This has been in the news for far too long now for all New Yorkers not to take note that we are quickly moving to an apartheid situation here in the city of New York when we don't recognize the civil liberties and the civil rights of all New Yorkers. This policy must end. We need an enlightened age where our policing strategy evolves to one where we're able to differentiate those who are law-abiding citizens from those who are criminals. When we begin the roundup situation, we are headed for situations like the one that we all witnessed this weekend, where we have a sitting councilman who is handcuffed in front of his constituents, only out there to greet them, but handcuffed in front of his constituents with no way of getting any justice in that situation. Luckily, we were all there to speak on his behalf and for him to speak on his own behalf. But can you imagine if he was then taken, like many other constituents, to central booking and then kept there until today? This is what is happening in New York City each and every day, and each and every moment of each and every day And I have to tell you, if we have to bring in the Justice Department in order to get justice in the city of New York, I'm willing to go to those lengths. Because I have nephews, I have a father, I have a brother living here in the city of New York who have lived here for all of their lives. And they should not be fearful of being in this town because they're not going to get the same treatment that their white counterparts are getting in this town. So I want to thank the councilman, I want to thank the leadership of this town for coming out today to say enough is enough. Let's evolve. Let's get policing strategies that doesn't target everyone as criminals. Thank you.
Thank you. Very well said. Very well. I know we also have Councilmember Barron is here. Councilmember Reyna, Weprin, and Halloran. I want to say thank you to them as well. I'm going to ask State Senator Eric Adams to speak for the state senators who are here. If there's any other state senators, you can feel free to step up.
Oh, thank you. I just want to go through some procedural issues as a former captain in the police department. First and foremost, when they were not free to leave, they were in custody. So to state that you were handcuffing them for their own safety, that's rhetoric. The moment they were not free to leave, they were in custody. Second, the New York City Police Department has clear guidelines whenever police officers encounter the media like yourself. If you're at a scene and you are encountered by police officers, there are clear procedures where you contact DCPI and DCPI comes in and makes sure that the situation does not get out of hand. That procedure should take place for those members of that elected officials. There's no reason that to identifying or a sitting elected official, after identifying himself, something should have clicked in that officer's head that let me ensure that I get community affairs who was on the scene, Chief Nelson was on the scene, high-ranking individuals on the scene that could have stepped in and ensure that the situation should have been handled in an effective manner. When both Foy and Jumaane identified themselves and were attempting to communicate with the police officers, you use aggressive force when you have to. There was no reason during the conversation to use that type of force when they were merely trying to identify themselves. The problem that we're facing in the police department is not dealing with the rank and file officer on patrol. There's a level of comfort in the police department. Jumaane should not have to walk around with a special Negro badge that allows him to move through the city. All people who are attempting to communicate to the police department when they are approached by the police department should be given reasonable amount of time to articulate what they're doing. If this could happen to Jumaane with ID, with the communicative skills, with the patience, with his dedication of having anti-violent marches in his community, if it could happen to Jumaane, then it could happen to not only people with locks, but people without hair like me. As long as the skin tone is not the acceptable skin tone, this is resonating. We hear this at every cookout, every barbecue, every family reunion, every classroom. This is the tone in our community. And the only reason that this has been ignored for so long, because many people have basically said, do what you have to do. The most draconian police practices happen when crime is high. Crime are apples. Harassment of people are the oranges. You can get rid of apples without hurting the oranges. The police department has decided to round up all the fruits and destroy them all. And we say that can't happen. What happened to these gentlemen should be a wake-up call. We want to get rid of crime in our community, but not at the expense of bartering away our civil rights. This is a symbol of a police department that has gone off track. When a police agency says, I'm not going to turn over arrest data in schools. When a police agency says, I'm not going to turn over stop and frisk information. When a police agency states, I'm not going to follow the law. That feeling of defiance trickles down to the rank and file police department. When the top disrespects the council leadership and the laws that are passed, then the bottom is going to disrespect the public that they're supposed to serve and protect. That's